Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the World Championship Series Europe Premier League, here live from Cologne.
That's right. Hello, everyone, and welcome, as my PC died right in front of me as the intro was going on. So I actually don't have a computer right now, but I guess we'll have to just work around that. Colares, welcome, everyone. This is, of course, the Premier League. We've got to the halfway point, finally. We're here, like many other seasons, and so far it's been pretty fun. Lots of upsets, lots of fun games. Let's open the second half of the Premier League round of 32.
Certainly so. Let's take a recap of the first half, though, as we've had 4 groups already conclude, Sean.
That's right. We've had some favourites go through, some favourites go out. Starting from Group A, as you can see, we lost Naniwa already in the round of 32, but we've had MC go through, Jack G. Nurcho, and, of course, the rest of the players across the board. But remember, this is just, well, we've already started with 1 day of week 2. We have 2 more days on Thursday and Saturday, today and Saturday, and then, of course, 2 days next week with Tuesday and Thursday. So not too much longer left to go.
Yeah, only 4 groups left for us to now plow through and find out those last remaining 8 spots that will be filled in the round of 16. But for today's group, Group E, of course, we have StarDust, Happy, Bly, and BlinG. And why don't we start off with a player from Korea who stormed onto the international scene? With no time at all, really. With brute force, it's StarDust.
Yeah, StarDust, a guy who's looking to win the entire of the Premier League. Starting from today, of course, in the round of 32. And as you say, he did shoot to the top. After leaving the military with the Air Force Brood War team, jumped into StarCraft 2, not long, and then, well, hand in hand, those guys just shot to the top, really, with his massive DreamHack win in 2013, DreamHack Summer, and has just been, continuing to bring top-level performances, and already has had a super successful start to 2014, already in the top 16, already top 10, currently ranked 9 in the WCS point system.
Yeah, it's amazing to think he only had 1,600 points last season, and now he's getting up there very, very rapidly already. But secondly, we have a player who a lot of people are looking towards as a non-Korean hope here in WCS Europe. It's Happy.
Are we on the Happy hype train today?
I'm always on the Happy hype train.
We always seem to be on the Happy hype train today. This is a guy who always enters a tournament, and he has the best pre-tournament. He has good results before entering a tournament. He is performing well online, and he always starts well. If you think about it, this is his 4th time in Premier League. He's always left the round of 32, but I'm not going to jump too far right now because he always breaks my heart, but I'm hoping for him to do well today. His 4th time in Premier League, as mentioned, and his start to 2014 kicks off here.
Well, next we have the unconventional Ace of Zerg, his 3rd time in the Premier League, looking to advance on as the 3rd Zerg into the round of 16. It is Bly.
Yeah, Bly's just a terror when he plays in any group. He's unpredictable. He could lose every single game today. He could win every single game today. It's very difficult to predict how well he's going to do, but he will use unorthodox strategies, will try to confuse his opponents, and look to win against the grain compared to the most usual Zerg players. So this guy's a massive wild card and a massive danger if players just aren't ready to compete against him today.
And then finally, we have our only British representative in WCS. He's a rock star. We salute you as he tries to make his appearance in Premier for the 2nd time worthwhile. It is BlinG.
God save our great... No, I can't get into that. Of course, BlinG representing us, Colares, today from the UK.
Yeah.
Let's be brutally honest, though. It's his 2nd time in Premier League. BlinG in the international scene has rarely gone above... I don't think he's gone above a round of 16 performance ever. So he's never been in the round of 16. In the Premier League, it would be a difficult task for him to achieve today. But let's put it, UK has never been that good at esports.
No.
We're very good at drinking lager and watching sports.
And talking about it, apparently.
And talking about it, apparently, indeed. Red Eye, ourselves, the Muslim. But let's hope he can do well today.
Let's indeed. So let's take a look at how things are going to unfold today as we roll on forward with Group E.
That's right. So we are going to start with the UK man going up against, as mentioned, a favourite to win the entire thing, StarDust. So we'll be opening with a PvP, Protoss versus Protoss. Then going over to our 2nd game, Bly versus Happy. And if you didn't know the format, once again, you can be my old lady. And let's cross the road together over the green light, not the red light. Let's go over on the green. Once we get 2 winners from these 2 games, they'll go up against each other in the winner bracket, or the upper bracket is labeled here. The losers will go down to the lower bracket and face off there. Well, they will have to play the loser of the winner bracket to go through 2nd. And eventually today, in 5 best of 3s, we will have 2 players moving on to the round of 16.
Thank you very much, Green Cross Code Apollo. as we now get into our first game of the day. With StarDust and BlinG, a PvP to kick things off. And then from there, anything can happen. A lot of people saying, Protoss, you're doing pretty well, but one of you is already going to get knocked down, one of you is going to go on anyway. So
yeah,
be all right.
And PvP can really be brutal. It can be very hard to play a best-of-3 series because of the way that it works out. There is a certain element of luck involved when it comes to selecting the build orders. If you try to play too safe, then you can get caught out and outplayed a lot of the time. So it is a hard to approach this matchup, but you have to favor StarDust, who is a massive, massive favorite just in PvP in itself. He's one of the better Protoss versus Protoss players. And BlinG, let's hope, because of course he's known his opponent for a long time, has something up his tattoo sleeve.
He's going to have. I mean, we have seen and watched StarDust throughout a transformation in Protoss versus Protoss, I would like to say. During WCS Season 3, we saw him going very, very cheesy and trying to beat his opponents like that. But as of late, we've seen this fantastic macro style from him that's looked so impressive against the best of them in the world.
Yeah, StarDust is definitely going to do very well in all 3 seasons in the Europe Premier League, for definite. He's very good against Zerg players. He's a brutalizer against Zerg players. He's pretty good against Terran, and he's fantastic against Pro. He's just a complete all-round package of a player, and he really had about 6 to 9 months of high results since joining My Insanity, and they have always been pretty consistently high, and I'm expecting nothing less from him. He's already ranked 9th in the world ranking. That's pretty high already, with a top 4 finish at the Asus RG and then grabbing up a couple of extra points at the Cologne in Touchstream Masters tournament. Whereas BlinG hasn't got any points on the board yet, apart from actually being in Premier League in the round of 32, only 100 points for that so far. So it is a massive difference of 2 players here.
Yeah, and it's a really good point that you bring up the Asus RG tournament where we saw StarDust performing so well, because he beat both of the finalists during group stages, etc. So and they were both San and Dia, these phenomenal PvP players in themselves. StarDust beat those guys. He could have quite happily have won that entire tournament had things gone a little bit differently. So that really does show the caliber that we're seeing StarDust currently play out.
Yeah, but he is going up against the man with 3 lions on his shirt, and we'll be looking to hopefully do well. As fellow Englishmen, you know, we have to look at this and say, yeah, you're going to do it.
We have to
as we do at every sport that any English or United Kingdom player or team enters.
We have to look at it and say, go on, son. Yeah. And that's about it.
But it's going to be difficult, of course. StarDust is a fantastic player, and then you've got Bly and Happy, who are, I mean, Happy's in a world of his own, I'd like to say, really. He's a fantastic Terran player. But Bly's a tricky guy. So this PvP is going to be very, very important just because of how it really can go sometimes 50-50. For example, what happens if we see StarDust go for a BlinG build against a Gateway Expand, and BlinG's able to survive? He finds himself in a great position. So there are definitely options here to gain advantages earlier on, and I'm pretty sure the early stages of every single game that we see are going to be very important for both players.
We've seen a lot of good PvP as of late. A lot of very, very high-tier PvP. No doubt StarDust is going to bring that to the table. All eyes are really looking at what BlinG is going to do, having known, as you mentioned before, that he is going up against StarDust here. There has to be some kind of spice, some kind of even trickery involved here from BlinG, because StarDust he's a menace.
Well, do remember that the one time that StarDust was in Premier League last year, he got 6th place and almost made it to the Season 3 finals to represent Europe, just in his single time in Premier League. He struggled to qualify for Challenger in Season 1, managed to get in Challenger for Season 2 and just crushed it, and was able to find himself in Premier League. And unlike a lot of the other Koreans that we have in Premier League, he is in Europe.
Yes, he is.
So there's no limitations to his play. He's not going to have to worry about latency. He can bring his best games.
Well, let's jump straight on into game number 1 now to find out in this first series who is going to advance on to the winners, as we have spawning up to the northern position as our red Protoss representing My Insanity. It is StarDust. And down to the south, our blue Protoss representing Dignitas and the UK. It's BlinG.
And what a typical British ID
it really
he
is.
Carries. BlinG.
Of all names.
Of all names he could have chosen. BlinG.
He's blinging it, mate.
BlinG.
I can't
BlinG it,
believe
mate.
it.
Going down the local, mate, for a couple of pints, innit?
Sounds so much like everyone where I'm from. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, it's very typically British. I don't know if people like in other countries know that BlinG is typically British.
He is. He is. He loves a couple of drinks on the weekend with the lads. Let's just put it that way. Did you know that BlinG originated from playing Age of Empires as an RTS game? And did you know that he also played Halo competitively?
I did know that bit. Yeah, but I didn't know he played Age of Empires beforehand. Such a weird transition. Age of Empires, Halo, StarCraft. It's a bit strange, but...
And throughout all of his early days, and so, I mean, I used to be on Dignitas with him. We were teammates for a long time.
Yeah.
And he was such a cheesy player. Every single game was 2 base all in pretty much from BlinG. But obviously as the game developed and it became harder and harder to pull off these moves, he grew as a player and was able to play the games a lot longer. But we'll see what's going to happen here. But I mean, if you look at StarDust, it's not really too much different, really, is it? When he's playing StarCraft 2, he's rather aggressive himself. They've opened up for identical builds here. And the common trend of Protoss versus Protoss is you actually grab 3 probes in each assimilator really early on. That's actually something that's been very common in Korea for a lot of builds. But we do see StarDust going 2 and 2, which could lead us to believe that we are going to be seeing a second gateway out from him. But we do have BlinG mining 3 and 3 so far, which gives you a lot of gas very early on. Could be Sentry Mothership Core at the same time. Could be Mothership Core really early on, and then a tech choice. We'll see.
There's certainly so many options to go for in PvP, and that's, again, one of the reasons why at the very beginning it can get a little #dicey as to why on earth you would actually, deal with certain builds, and you've got to be careful. That's why we're seeing scouts come out now from BlinG to have a look around his opponent's base, see if he can get a read on it. He's going to see 2 gateways, so that's a pretty good read already.
So with the 2 gateways, he has a couple of options to go down, whether it be Stalkers coming out quite a lot early on. It could be still Sentries, but one of the most likely things here is for 3 or 5 Stalkers, depending on the level of aggression he wants to go for. But BlinG has decided to proxy his pylon on the other side of the map, the 3rd pylon that is, which we can see StarDust quite actively looking for inside this main base.
He hasn't seen it to the back here. That probe actually could have gone right around the back and seen that Twilight Council as well as that pylon, but he didn't get a full scout before the Mothership Core will deny.
He didn't, but if you, I mean, if you think about it right now, let's just look at the production tab. You see the pylon that StarDust is making in production tab, right?
Yep.
That is and should be the same thing that BlinG should have coming down, which is in the production tab, but not in the base already. So StarDust may be able to put this together. It could be a mind game of just hiding in the pylon and still going for BlinG anyway. But as we can see, it's a pretty fast DT rush coming out from him.
Yeah. And he's got to be careful about this. He really does. There is an opportunity, a huge opportunity, though, after the 2 gateways, to just go for your tech of choice. Could be a Robo from here for StarDust to keep himself defended. Yeah. He's chrono boosting out double Stalker.
Yeah, he's going to go with 3 to 5 Stalkers here, and is going to pressure pretty early on because he realizes his opponent's teching, whether it be BlinG or DTs anyway. So there's a window of opportunity for him to do damage before that's even possible. So the Mothership Core here for BlinG is a must-keep at home to be able to use the Photon Overcharge. And a nice pickup of that probe. But remember the pylon and probes on the other side, or at least the pylon and dark shrines on the other side.
Yeah, so then you can push that away. If StarDust's not reading into this properly, he may just think that probe's there for later scouting, as it really didn't have a pylon next to it or anything like that, and it will end up dying to these Stalkers. So that's a nice pickup there for StarDust.
And he may continue to be aggressive. A 3rd gateway may come out or something, but a Twilight Council, this is really, really bad for him. I don't think he's actually read that well into the situation here.
Well, I just don't think he got right scouting in his opponent's main. If you look at the back of the mineral line, there could have been anything going down behind that.
Yeah.
So he didn't really scout out as actively as he normally should have done.
And the Photon Overcharge will buy BlinG time here to go for his Dark Templars. This is really, really good for him.
And now we will push one of those Stalkers away. Even Dies going straight into the range of that.
I think he's starting to realize what's going on. He actually cancelled the 4th and 5th Stalk. Oh, no, they're in the mineral line. Okay, never mind. But he's already got the Robo coming in. Yeah. 2 Dark Templars are being warped in, and StarDust is going home. I think he started to realize he's got BlinG of his own, another gateway. If he's able to get if he needs to block the ramp, he needs a Sentry first. That's a Stalker. It's not blocking the ramp either.
I'm kind of surprised if he doesn't read into this fully. He needs to block that ramp. He really does.
Yeah, he's not sure what his opponent's doing at all. He could think it's just fast BlinG play, which, of course, could be. But there's the Observer, so there's not much time here for BlinG to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, well, that DT is going to walk on straight in. The Stalkers have now spotted it. He realizes what's going on. 2 probes have died off. How much more will he get, though? The Stalkers are trying to block as best they can do.
Nice surround with the Stalkers.
Yeah, you are trapped, my friend.
That's really nice.
Where's the second DT? He's
hiding, waiting for the Stalkers and the Observer to leave, and then going again and try to get some kills. It is an expansion behind this for BlinG, and he is trying to go up to the robotics facility to build Immortals to be safe. But for the time being, he still needs to get more damage done, because technically he's playing from a bit of a deficit. If you think about his opponent's going to have BlinG faster, he has more Stalkers. He's expecting his opponent to leave soonish, and did go in. His opponent's not far away. 3 kills, that's nice. 4 kills.
That's doing well so far, it really is.
He's going to get another 6.
There we go. A respectable kill count on this second DT. Who now just worms around, and Observer's on the way. He sent his first Observer over to the other side of the map to try and spot what was going on, and had to bring that back.
That's nice. So. That's nice. So that was a lot of kills there. And now we have BlinG not that far away finishing for BlinG, and we should start to see Immortal production pretty soon into this game. So overall, if you look at the situation, that was okay. That was a good start here for BlinG.
And an interesting thing during all of this is that StarDust never, ever really committed to a mothership core. So he doesn't really have a huge amount of defensive capabilities. And I'm pretty sure that's why this pylon's over on the other side.
Yep, he's going to go for this. Yeah. But the mothership core has energy for a photon overcharge, which is going to buy him enough time in the first place. And then we got quite a few Stalkers out for BlinG with BlinG and a better economy. And equal gateways.
It's only 1 photon overcharge, and he could just jump into the main with Observers. So he has to be careful.
But there's enough units for BlinG right now to fight.
Yeah, there is.
He actually can fight this.
He should be able to, you're right. He doesn't have BlinG for a second, but it's just about to finish, so he should be fine. Actually an aggressive BlinG forwards there. Doesn't realize
the photon overcharge.
He needs to know that he does know that his opponent has defensive BlinG now, and BlinG's going to try and use that as best as he can do. There was one volley there from StarDust that actually went down onto the plates and not doing any damage to these Stalkers. His number falls down dramatically.
9-7 in favor of the Brit. And warping him more and more. Like I said, he's got a better economy and equal gateways, so he's actually going to be able to outproduce his opponent. So StarDust is a dead duck. Yeah,
and now all BlinG needs to do is realize that his opponent doesn't have an expansion on the way, and he just sits back, stays safe, and he'll be fine.
That's the way he could lose this game, if he stops producing units.
Yeah.
But he sees that StarDust is still warping in. He's got that Observer there. He's checking the unit count, having a look what's actually there to fight, and sees that he has more Stalkers, so he's going to take in a fight, which is fine to do.
And actually blinks some of those weakened Stalkers over to the left-hand side there. Blinks aggressively forwards with the rest of them. And now he still has a Stalker count advantage. GG, BlinG will take game number 1, and I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting that. That was pretty good.
Not bad. Not bad. Not a bad start there. So that's a bit of a wake-up call there for StarDust, because it's obviously not going to be easy to climb from the lower bracket here compared to going through the winners, with the other 2 players being quite dangerous in their respective ways. But we do see BlinG take map number 1 there. Nicely executed DT play from him. And as you said, you did point it out that StarDust didn't really know exactly what's going on. He could have, had some damage control with the DTs, could have walled the ramp with his Stalkers initially to buy some time for the Observer. But the DT's got a lot of damage done while being able to get the expansion down and enough units to come out.
It was pretty clear. The way in which StarDust was scouted, there was 2 big moments of the scouting there that went on. There was the first one where he didn't spot anything behind the mineral line, and then that kind of threw him off. And then there was the second time where he actually poked him with his 3 Stalkers, or his 3 to 4 Stalkers, and he saw the Twilight Council and only saw like 2 gateways, but no Chrono Boost, or the Twilight Council wasn't whirring away or anything like that. So I don't think StarDust was being as observant as he should have been, because these 2 things could have really given him a bit of indication as to what was going on.
All right, well, Habitation Station is going to be our next map here in the first series of the day, as we cross the halfway line here in the round of 32 in the Premier League. And we have BlinG taking the first blood, the first victory of the day over StarDust, and an unlikely start. I think a lot of people are expecting StarDust to walk over this game and eventually walk over the group. But things could get quite heated up here if BlinG was to be able to win this first game, throwing StarDust down. And I'm sure the other 2 players in the group are like, please don't you lose StarDust, because if I lose my game, then I'm going to have to play you.
Yeah, that's tough. And I think with Happy and Bly as well, a lot of people are looking to Happy as the clear favorite, but you rightly illustrated it before. Bly can beat anybody on any day just randomly, or he could just lose completely and go. So Bly's a crazy one.
Yeah, he definitely is, and that's something which Happy will definitely be looking out for, and of course his Protoss opponents eventually later on too. So we are now just about ready for this. Do you think the Englishman, the ye old Englishman, can do it?
It's got one map in hand.
That's a pretty big thing. I mean, like I said, PvP can be pretty, can go either way in a best of 3 sometimes. It really can. I mean, like we talked about earlier on, if we saw, an aggressive play from StarDust, an expansion from BlinG, and if he's able to defend, he wins. So, like that, we saw in game number 1, BlinG takes map number 1 as well. So, imagine if he 2-0 StarDust. I think it's a fantastic start for his campaign this
Be crazy, yeah. I would like to see one of these guys do the MC build on this map, Habitation Station, which is just the furiously fast Zealot Stalker Mothership Core aggression, which can really catch you off guard if you're not being too proactive about making units early on. Although MC did get quite... I think it was against StarDust, actually. He got quite punished by it previously. But anyway, that's by the by. Let's jump into game number 2 now as we find out if the Brick can advance on 2-0, or if this man will tie it up 1-1, spawning up to the top left, representing my insanity, it is StarDust. And up to the top right, we have our blue Protoss. Representing Dignitas, it is BlinG.
All right. So, just one map. Just one more
Just
map.
one.
BlinG's there, just listening to whatever BlinG listens to. I'm going to guess it's like dance music or hip-hop.
Yeah, he's hip-hopping away, man.
He's hip-hopping away. He's just one more game. Come on, baby. And then he's going to get a text message from his mother, who is quite famous in esports, for her loyal support. She's probably watching right now, so hello, BlinG's mum. You must be watching, obviously. So that was silly for me to question your loyalty to your son. So I apologize in advance and welcome you to our stream here. I've yet to meet you, but I'm sure in the future... whether it be a UK tournament or maybe one day you travel to Europe to see your son play.
I don't know what it is about English esports mums. They're very supportive.
Yeah, well, good for them. English mums in general are very supportive, whether it be football mums, esports mums in this case, or rugby mums. Yeah.
There's so many people that started following my mum and I don't know why on Twitter. Why did she make a Twitter in the first place? No, this is... All right, anyway. She's probably watching as well. Hi, Mum. Oh, mums. All right. So, what's going on, Sean?
Just same openings. This is the standard in Protoss versus Protoss, really. Just go for the 13 gateway. Into double gas is taken at the same time here. There are some deviations that we see where one gas is taken a little bit earlier and the second gas taken a little bit later. But they are at the same time here. And we'll just kind of have to see the amount of probes they throw in immediately. 2 and 2 again for StarDust. Compared to 2 and 2 for... Oh, no. 2 and 4. I'm like, wait, that doesn't make sense.
Wait a minute, BlinG.
All right, so a little bit of a mistake there from BlinG going into 4 when his assimilator can only manage 3. I think he was looking at 3 and 3 there, so a little bit of a hiccup there from BlinG to start this next one.
And he's not correcting it for a second. This does have an impact if you check out the incomes here. It's slightly in favor of StarDust for quite a while, whilst he has now 3 and 3.
At this stage of the game, having a probe missing, basically. Imagine, in the games where you lose a probe to another probe, harassment. It's that type of move. Obviously, the probe's not gone forever because it should be adjusted soon, but it's not the best of starts here. Definitely not.
Certainly not. Chrono Boosted Stalker straight on out here for BlinG. StarDust now gets a full scout off of his opponent's base, so he's not making the same mistake twice, that's for sure.
This Chrono Boosted Stalker over the Mothership Core here just really wants to get that probe out ASAP to really hide what he's doing, and in this regard, it's to hide the potential third pylon missing, to hide that there's going to be a tech structure down the bottom here. And this would, I imagine, would be a Stargate from this position. It's a bit far. Okay, no, it is going to be Twilight, sorry. I was thinking if he would go for Twilight again down there. Interesting. He may go for just the same build again.
Yeah, he may do.
Hashtag mind games.
And meanwhile, StarDust is seemingly going for exactly the same build as well on the other side. So he seems pretty confident in this as a stable opener, but he's got to be so careful about what's coming.
One would imagine from 2 gateways, if StarDust is to go Blink here, then BlinG going DTs again is a fantastic position to be in.
Yeah.
So let's just have a quick couple of seconds here. We're expecting DTs from BlinG, and if we see Blink, which is highly likely, I would imagine, from StarDust, then automatically BlinG is set up in a decent position, but is it BlinG? It's not starting.
He could lose. Oh, no, okay. Actually, he could still lose that, but it would lose the Mothership Core.
What did BlinG spot with his Mothership Core? Nothing. Okay. Well, it is Dark Templar. It's not BlinG. It could have been either.
Yeah, the Sentry was...
So, if the Mothership Core of BlinG somehow sees this, then obviously gets a heads up. But likewise, if StarDust probe in the middle of the map gets to spot Well, it's not going to see anything inside the main, is it? So
this is so good by StarDust, though. Keeping his mothership core, tracking his opponents, because there's no other unit that's going to be able to do that aside from the mothership core. So he absolutely has to be able to deny the scouting.
But we do have StarDust with the Robo and BlinG, no Robo now. Even without spotting it, he's got the robotics facility coming in because he's got no idea what his opponent's doing. So this now is turned quite favorable until that Robo is just thrown down for BlinG.
He's covering his bases.
He's got a dark. He's got a sentry. I think he may be expecting his opponent to potentially be doing this.
Yeah.
He's not very active on the map. StarDust is not. That is. So BlinG's like, oh, what could he be doing here? And is preparing himself in case of a Dark Templar play. But at the moment, if we see an Observer, which we should quite early from StarDust, then you'd favor StarDust with the faster Nexus. The Observer's coming out.
Yeah.
No Nexus for BlinG until now.
And he's rallying that to the front as well. So.
Yeah. And there's a wall on the ramp too. So.
Good start by StarDust, not falling for this twice, although he will lose a Stalker if he's not careful. And there he does pull it back there for a second. He also has a Force Field available. Oh no, he actually sent in a Hallucinated Phoenix, so he doesn't have a Force Field available to him.
BlinG does, though. What do you? He hasn't got a full... He's got a full ramp. He lets the units in, he stops the other DT, but he lets those in. That first one, which shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
He had the Force Field to spot and also units to block, and he did neither.
Well, that's a bit annoying there for BlinG. He's going to lose a few probes in the process. He loses 7 in total. And meanwhile, there's that other DT also whacking away at his natural. Yeah. And he also knows about his opponent's natural, the progress of it as well, because he passed it with these Dark Templars. So he's in a bit of a tight bind.
Yeah, so StarDust actually comes out the victor after all the early game shenanigans here with a 8-probe, 9-probe difference. And the one thing that can equalize this game up is going to be the Warp Prism, which is about to pop, which obviously can warp in a DT and could get into the probe line if there's no detection there. There's definitely no vision range inside his main base to spot the Warp Prism early, so this has a potential to do well.
Meanwhile, he's just holding himself strong at the front as well. So, wait, does he have... Okay, he only has 1 Observer, so it's just going to be up to that one to actually deal with that. And we do have the Forge coming out from StarDust, so he's looking to play this out a bit longer. And there, likewise, Forge from BlinG. So both players adhering to that kind of macro Protoss style while that DT gets dropped on him.
Well, there's not too much there to stop this right now. And it's a good DT drop. But of course, everything that StarDust has going for him is a little bit faster than BlinG right now. Faster gets on the Natural, faster Forge, faster +1 attack, and generally a better spot. This DT is helping.
Yeah, good work in the end. And that actually ties up things a little bit further. It's 38 now to 32, so he's caught up a little bit, noticeably behind this as well. Chrono boosts into the Nexus for BlinG just to catch up that little bit further.
He's really not that far behind. Just a little bit with +1 attack, just a little bit with probes, and just a little bit in supply after the early DT builds. The unit count, we do have an Immortal in favor as well. So just small bits of advantages here for StarDust, but absolutely, this can be drawn out quite long. The DT and Warp Prism can still be used to try to equalize the game, but it is going to go on for quite a period now. Both players are going to be actively searching to find out if it's going to be a 2-base attack, which then, if they find, would then prepare for it, and then if not, would be looking to take a 3rd in the game moving on. Both Robo-base thrown down at the same time.
Yeah, so looking to just transition onto Colossus Tech, and that's an interesting choice actually on a map like this. It really, it's harder to actually have the Zealot Archon composition work out when you've got some smaller choke points around the map, but at the same time, it still can work out nicely if you're taking an engagement in the middle of the map. So just going down this route, either, it's all right.
And the Robotics Bay has been spotted by StarDust on BlinG's natural, but vice versa not yet, which is just 1 Phoenix moving out now. So it is kind of crucial to see what your opponent's doing. Obviously, if he's playing an Archon style, you'd be playing a bit more tighter and more defensively because he has more aggressive options. But upon seeing the Robotics Bay, which he does now, which is a good scout from BlinG, they know that they're on very equal stances currently. And BlinG going to use the Warp Prism to try and find himself that, even though we described he's just a little bit behind in this game, with 2 Immortals here, definitely could find himself dealing damage out to get back into this.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised it was heading down to the south, and he does divert it. Heading down to the bottom left-hand corner after seeing that the Immortals and a cannon was even there at his opponent's natural, it's going to be hard to make something happen.
And he's playing quite risky with this play. So what BlinG's looking to do is harass his opponent with this Warp Prism while taking a 3rd, hoping that doesn't get spotted and hoping he slows down his opponent long enough for extra gateways to be added on not too long away from this point, which is a nice strategy, but it's going to be hard to execute. If StarDust smells this out, you can't expand off 3 gateways like this unless he doesn't see it.
And BlinG, after sending in extra hallucinated scouts, decides he can't actually go for that. StarDust is too well bunkered down on these two bases with these patrolling units, and even behind that, you know, he's still gaining those advantages with a Colossus. The Colossus number. Wait, it's only 1-to-1 actually. So
it's smart risks though. Realizing you know he's a little bit behind for the majority of the game, it is smart risk. But StarDust, if he smells that out, man, he is a killer, and he will try to stop that. Hallucinated Phoenix though in the middle is going to get stopped, so that's a nice pick off there. But StarDust going to send a DT. Oh, look at this kind of star senses, really.
Clever, man.
And he's going to see this Nexus almost completed. And one would only imagine, with 2 gateways of his own about to complete, he will probably throw down the 3rd base, but he's definitely going to look to pressure this.
Yeah, he could happily go. He would have some capabilities in that in itself. I mean, he has the 1 extra Immortal in this army, which is always a nice, big power punch in terms of this army, and he's even got a Warp Prism down to this right, so he might throw an expansion down, try and do something towards the main somehow.
He threw down just 2 gateways just this second. Like, he finished up with the 2 that he was building, then added on 2 more, which actually increases his gateway count to about 7 or something now.
8
in total. Yep. So that's a good number, and he's going to try and punish BlinG here for this this fast 3rd base. BlinG is mining from that 3rd base, and ideally, I would imagine needs a minute, 2 or more before he's properly ready for this. And I think if you look at the army supply, it would be in favor of StarDust by quite a bit here.
Well, BlinG's continued production of probes as well for quite a while during all of that. He's up to 63 against 54.
So if BlinG survives this attack, he wins the game, pretty much.
Yeah.
But is he going to survive it? StarDust is a killer. He's got that instinct. And I think BlinG's about to realize that this attack is coming forward. He sends out Hallucinated Phoenix, and we'll see this. So now he needs to prepare the bunkers. Hit the deck.
Yeah, he's going to have to somehow. He needs to spread himself quite thinly across this location and wait for his opponent and greet him as he comes forward.
Ooh, he's going to try and take the high ground position, which is kind of smart. Kind of smart there, obviously, because he can't filter up there.
Actually, that Time Warp was a great Time Warp there by BlinG, who looks to chase down this. A lot of those Colossi, or 2 of them at the front, took a bit of damage. He needs to get out of there, though, because extra Time Warp pursuing this army, all in all, I think was the bad decision.
Yeah, and he lost his Mothership Core, too. But he does have 4 Colossus there, and he just needs to kind of take beneficial fights for him. Army supply is starting to catch up for BlinG now. The income's kicking in, but he still needs to survive a little bit more.
I just needed to spread the Colossi a little bit thinner than all of this, and he does actually start going to work on all of those Zealots, but there's just too much here from StarDust as those Zealots move forwards. As to the Archon, start getting on top of the Colossi as well. GG. Yeah. StarDust just has too much power behind him.
That killer StarDust. A nice movement out there. Great scout. Imagine if that DT didn't scout it at the time it spotted that, because then it would have been a very different game. But great scouting from StarDust. Great realizing what he needed to do and good execution. I think that was a solid defense there from BlinG initially. Maybe Time Warp, maybe not try to go too deep in, you know, off away from his 3rd base could have been better. Maybe a Time Warp, couple of splashes from the Colossus, and then pull back again. Because, like you pointed out, he got caught by his opponent's Time Warp too, and found it hard to escape. Very close, though. Very, very close. Could have gone either way, given 30 seconds more to one player than the other.
And that's one of the risks you run in PvP when Time Warp has now become a huge, huge factor. And if your opponent has a higher Immortal account, even if it's just 1, they are doing so much more damage than they normally would have done before Heart of the Swarm during those engagements. So it's a scary risk. Scary risk.
All right, well, we are going to jump into game number 3 now between these 2 players. And it's been a great start for today. Some decent games coming out from these players. I'm sure it will only continue to improve here at the World Championship Series. Our next map is going to be Heavy Rain.
All right.
Which traditionally we've seen a lot of BlinG plays on this map. We have seen some proxy Dark Templar, have seen some proxy Stargates and so on. But remember, the Mothership Core on a small map like this can be used quite offensively for scouting. It can look outside your bases on the left and right, and then get back in time to use Time Warp defensively if need be. This is going to be a good setup. I like this map for the final one.
Does BlinG go for it 3 times in a row? I don't think he does.
Hashtag mind games.
It would be cool, but I don't think he does. I think StarDust after that first game is like, all right then, all right. I'm just gonna have my robo down at an okay time. And then
but then again, you can always fall into the trap as a pro player saying, you're not going to do it 3 times in a row. I'll skip my detection and try to be more assertive with my aggression. And that sometimes that can fool you. So
All right, well, we'll find out. Heavy Rain is the third map here. 1-1 apiece as the Brit goes up against the Korean to find out who advances on to the winner's game to play against either Happy or BlinG, which will be our next series. So just in general, I've really enjoyed the past groups we've had, and this one's looking pretty varied as well. A lot of good play styles.
Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to the rest of these games.
All right, let's get into it. Spawning down to the south as our blue Protoss. Representing Dignitas, it is BlinG. And up to the north, we have our red Protoss. Representing my insanity, it's StarDust.
Do you reckon StarDust mother's watching?
Let's say yes.
All right.
It's quite ambitious.
Bear in mind,
I'm saying yes anyway.
2 or 3 a.m. in Korea right now, maybe later.
She has a hard time sleeping. That's
very well may be the case.
Yes, there we go. She worries about her boy. Ah, there you go.
Yeah, she does. She worries about her son.
Oh, damn. That was good. Nobody got that. Well,
there's definitely a couple of people out there that got that.
Yeah, a lot of people got that.
All right. So, what are we going to see from both of these players here? And so far, it does look like the regular setup.
I like how you even give me the little wink as well. It's like nobody can see this.
No one else sees that, but I'll give you the wink.
Wow.
I'll give you the wink. Both players actually looking around inside their... Well, actually, sorry, BlinG looking inside his main base for a proxy, whereas StarDust is on trot to the other side of the map here, and it's quite an early probe scout, to be fair. That's quite an early probe scout.
Yeah. Really wants to know what his opponent's up to. Might even go for a gas steal, but that would be crazy. That would be utterly crazy.
That would be pretty crazy indeed.
Because he doesn't get over there at the right time anyway against a double 15. So BlinG is just going super straight to, I assume, tech again. But if it goes for a Dark Shrine, it's going to blow my mind.
Imagine if BlinG was to send out his probe to build another pylon now, but the probe's already there to spot if anything was fishy. Like that. So I think this is a decent move now here by StarDust. Obviously, it does hurt him a little bit. Would mean that BlinG is going to be a little bit faster. For example, the Cybercore's down a little bit faster, despite them going for identical builds here. But StarDust does have the comfort of mind here.
Yeah.
Knowing that, okay, I've just seen a probe leave his base. Where is that third pylon? Is it down at the same time I build mine? Or is he looking to do something similar again? Which would filter BlinG's options a little bit. I don't think he's going to proxy anything anymore through having this probe there.
Yeah, certainly. And especially also since we see a slight deviation from BlinG in 2 and 2 in gas as well. So this is leaning a bit more towards, extra gateway from this and trying to go for double stalkers. But then that in turn leads on to a nice healthy stalker count. But he actually didn't throw his second gate down at the normal time. So,
He still may do it. He definitely still may do it. But StarDust is not doing that at all. He's actually 3 and 3 in gas this time, which BlinG is going to go in and spot as well. So this is going to be a 1 base tech coming out from StarDust. Either Twilight Council or Stargate most likely. Then BlinG now has gone into gas almost with everything, but is starting to bank up a lot of minerals, as you see.
Yeah. And that sentry's on the way as well, Sean. He might actually try and just expand off this.
Yes, he will. With a sentry like this, he's going to expand. And he realizes he's playing against a 1-base tech, whether it be BlinG or DTs. Both would ideally... I guess it could be... he didn't spot the Twilight, did he?
Nope.
Or did he? Okay, so it could be Stargate, but a lot less likely. He's going to have to get towards the Robo eventually here. No, it's okay. That's a good scout from StarDust.
Yeah, very good.
Because now he knows before anything... when it comes to his own decisions, what he's playing against. So can make a better decision based on knowing this is a 1-gate expand. What is it the decision going to be? BlinG? So BlinG's going to have to rush out Immortals pretty fast here, I imagine. He's got the Sentry, and he will be able to hallucinate a Phoenix to spot if it's BlinG or not. But this is a good map for BlinG if you think about it. He can jump into the main base quite easily around the back of BlinG. He can be quite aggressive on the front door too.
The power of the Sentry, man. And the great thing about it is he also got a second one. So even if he used Hallucination, went over there, saw Dark Shrine on the way or something like that, he would still have energy for a Force Field to buy him some time. So this is a good setup that we're seeing from BlinG. And he needs to make sure he saves these. He threw down a Guardian Shield. And now he has no energy.
His Sentry.
But now he has no energy for Hallucination.
But he's got the other one at 72.
It takes a while, though.
Yeah, it does take a while. He had a probe going to scout on the other side to get to his opponent's Nexus, but was cut off by a Stalker. So he is quite in the dark at the moment, has a lot of Chrono Boost, and starts an Immortal immediately. The focal point now from BlinG is when pressure comes on the natural, photon overcharge, buy time.
Yeah.
And he has to rush out Immortals right now. Like, he won, and then a second. I would imagine he'd even skip the Observer at this point. Seen so many Stalkers quite active around so far.
And this is a big dedication from StarDust. 4th gateway went down during all of this. So now, if BlinG can hold on, he could actually be the victor, as long as he doesn't take too much damage. But
and he hasn't used the Mothership Core too early either. So he actually has 2 in a row now, which is quite substantial.
Oh, yeah. And he's got to throw him down in the right places, though, because BlinG is going to be ever so annoying, as StarDust is going to look to hit both angles quite hard here.
And BlinG is going to have to try to defend both areas now and just bide time. He's up to 3 gateways. Will only use Photon Overcharge when needed. Still hasn't used it yet, which is very patient of him. But he's going to have to start to get ready to now. Second Immortal about to pop, but we are going to see a jump to the main base here.
He's going to try for it, and this army, though, was well positioned there by BlinG, and can look to hunt this down.
And only lost 1 probe.
Yeah, and also, a lot of the firepower that we're seeing from, well, a lot of his standing army is 4 sentries. That's quite a heavy committal to sentries in this position.
Yeah, well, if he blinks forward, he can force field in and stuff like that. But, that's big. That's a big start. That's really big. That had double Photon Overcharge, remember. He's used 1 just, but now he doesn't have another one when this runs out, which he should have had. It's a really good start for StarDust there.
Yeah, instantly starts it up. Once again, though, 3rd Immortal is out.
Yeah, 3 Immortals is really big.
Oh, and he actually blinks forward. He's going to try and bring one of these down as quickly as possible.
Great force
it will
fields.
Fall. Yeah, and that will cut off a lot of those Stalkers from actually being able to retreat on out at all. That was...
was that worth it, though, for the economy difference between them? He lost 1 Immortal, but I think 4, maybe 5. I think 4 Stalkers went down. That was a lot of Stalkers that went down.
Ooh, and he can't stay there for too long. Those Immortals will do a lot of damage. He got himself another unit there. Was it a sentry? It looks like it was.
Yeah. And now there's no force fields like that again. He only has a Guardian Shield, but there are 2 Immortals. StarDust.
He's going to go for it again. This Time Warp's very, very good by him to slow those Immortals down from getting in position, because 1 Immortal at the back here isn't doing anything, but a 3rd Immortal is now on the way. Another Mothership Core will end up falling there, but if he loses that Mothership Core, he dies! He can't blink up into the main anymore, and now he warps in Zealots, realizing he's in a trouble. He has to connect with those Immortals with the Zealots.
And he's pulling the probe. He's pulling the probe Taurus.
Oh, and he's focusing so well here. Is BlinG onto the Stalkers with those Immortals, trying to dance around the Zealots as well. BlinG,
he's making a hold. He's making a hold right now. He needs to chronoburst out another Immortal, and if a second Immortal comes into this and picking off a pylon at the front there, he's doing it without the Mothership Core. As you said, it's only frontal attacks now. He doesn't need to divide his army anymore. He just goes head on. He's actually moving forward. Whoa, that's an aggressive BlinG.
That's it. You can't do that with just 6 Stalkers against 1 Immortal.
That's it. BlinG's going to beat StarDust.
Oh, and it doesn't even die. Oh, well, it wouldn't have died to a Zealot at the end.
Wow, a massive lead for BlinG. He can start chronoboosting probes again. And now all of a sudden, it has to go to an expansion play, one would imagine, from StarDust. But how much time does that give BlinG? And another probe has left the base, not to an expand, but to come down and build another probe and pylon. The Twilight Council's coming in for BlinG to get BlinG to secure his victory, pretty much. Because the one weakness he still has on a very powerful but slow army is mobility. But with the BlinG coming in, see you later. He can start building the same Stalker count as StarDust, if not higher, with his probe count.
Yeah, I mean, even during that battle there, BlinG was very, very good about pulling the probes to buffer for him. And despite losing a few, he's still massively ahead. He lost 6 during all of that, but he's still ahead by 12. This is... StarDust has to pull absolute miracles here.
Yeah, this is so difficult to do. He's going to have to...
This is one way, though.
This is one way to chip away, I suppose, from the back, lower the probe count a little bit, and then go in again. But BlinG should be throwing down more gateways right now. He should be throwing down like 3 gateways and just getting mass Stalkers.
Well, he should be keeping an eye on his opponent's expansion and realizing that it's not there, because he might fall into this weird position where he's like, I feel too comfortable.
More units being warped in like that. There's a lot of Stalkers again. You're not going to have the same Stalker count if you're trying to expand. So hopefully, for his sake, he was able to read into that, because he could, cause himself a bit of trouble. But here comes the extra gateway. I was going to say gateways, but it's gateway. Yeah,
this is quite clever, though, by StarDust to split up his Stalker count and try and hit him in 2 locations, because he's always going to be more mobile than these Immortals, which is nice.
Yeah.
But now it's...
Where's the another... BlinG doesn't want to mess this up now. He needs to add in more units, more gateways, get BlinG.
More Immortals. Like... anything to be able to deal with this, because this is becoming a bit hard. That 1 Immortal isolated there in the main, that could get blunk on by these Stalkers and easily killed off.
It could get blunked.
Blunked, man. Totally blunked.
And, that's a couple of free donations there. There is a Photon Overcharge now for BlinG.
Uh-oh, StarDust has force fields. He has to be, BlinG has to be so careful here.
It's 12 Stalkers to 14 though, in favor of StarDust, which isn't that
But BlinG's
much
not
of a
finished.
difference. Yeah, BlinG is going to be needed here. Photon Overcharge can buy time to get that BlinG.
Those force fields, I'm really, really scared for BlinG, just in case it doesn't realize that they are there, because if he goes up to the main with his whole force, he is going to get stuck.
He must be, I can only imagine through seeing his play, he must be playing this out very nervously right now, saying, come on, I just need a hold, I'm winning. And it continues to be just a hold. That's all he needs to make work. And 3 Stalkers there, a little bit dangerous to be out in the open. But if you look at the Stalker count now, his economy's kicking in. It's 16 to 15. He's got more Stalkers and BlinG and 2 Immortals.
Yeah, this is such a strong army. Army supply-wise, he is up quite significantly, especially now since BlinG is done. As he tries to just walk on and take this fight head-on, get those Immortals to the front. They're starting doing a little bit of work, but they're on Zealots. They're not really connecting. But at the same time, it's just overwhelming now. These 2 Immortals, they're just going to chip away at this too hard. GG, BlinG is able to take the first series today 2-1.
And who expected that to start our day here? BlinG goes 2 games to 1, finds himself in the winner's match straight away, putting StarDust down into the lower bracket. And now I think, as we said earlier, Happy and Bly are like, BlinG?
What are you doing?
One of us has got to lose it. Now we have to face StarDust.
That's a tough position to be in, but again, who would have expected that? BlinG coming out with a flying performance, an absolute stonker, as he advances on, and he's going to be playing against the winner of our next match.
Yeah, and as mentioned, Happy versus Bly. So an interesting start here, like we always seem to have, whether it be the start or towards the end of the groups. A favorite has lost the first map here.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to go to a short break. And then when we're back, we shall have Happy versus Bly to find out who's going to go and play the winner's match against Dignitas BlinG.